Tyler gave a massive buff to the docks warehouse. He increased the number of employees and added AC units to help maximize efficiency, but unfortunately, that meant I needed to completely revamp my old cocaine warehouse build. Now, I've been working on this new build for over 2 months now. I went through 5 different designs, over a dozen different tests and experiments, all to ensure that I made the most efficient, most profitable cocaine farm that Schedule 1 has ever seen. This new build makes a whopping 16 bricks a day, and it's set up so your handlers automatically restock all of the gasoline and botanist supplies. It's completely automated, so all you have to do is sit back, relax, watch the money pile up. We're going to be using 5 botanists, 4 chemists, and 3 handlers. The botanist will be using 14 moisture preserving pots with triple additives that feed into 26 drying racks. That's the new ratio. The chemists are going to be operating on 8 pairs of cauldrons and lab ovens to make 16 bricks a day. Now, there is a variation that I built on stream that makes 20 bricks a day instead, but you have to manually restock all of the gasoline, so we ended up scrapping it. And the handlers will be automatically restocking all of that gasoline and all of the botanist supplies, as well as making sure the farm keeps running by moving the coca leaves out of the buffer closet. And if you don't know what a buffer closet is, let me explain. You see, with the weed bungalow, I introduced a backfeeding setup farm, and with the shrooms barn, I introduced a manifold setup farm. But this cocaine warehouse is a hybrid setup farm. It combines the best features of both the backfeeding and the manifold. So 4 of our botanists will be backfeeding and 1 will be strictly on the drying rack. Here's what that looks like. All the botanists, including the one that only uses the drying racks, will have this closet right here as their supply shelf. All the harvested plants will have their leaves go to this buffer leaf closet. A handler will move the leaves from this closet back into the botanist supply rack here. Now, both the backfeeding and the manifold style botanist will take the leaves from the supply shelf and move them to the drying rack. It'll get turned into heavenly quality coca leaves and go from the drying racks to the leaf/gasoline supply closet here, where the handlers will move the heavenly leaves and gasoline to the cauldrons, then the chemists cook it, dry it in the lab ovens, and transport it to the brick press for our handlers to turn into the finished product. Now, I know that sounds complicated, but trust me, it's a lot easier than it looks. Plus, the step-by-step tutorial in the second half of this video will walk you through exactly what you need to do. Here's everything you're going to need to buy to get this build running. You'll need 14 moisture preserving pots, 18 full spectrum grow lights, 18 suspension racks, 26 drying racks, 14 AC units, 8 lab ovens, 8 cauldrons, 3 huge storage closets, 2 large storage closets, a brick press, and 12 lockers. Along with our 5 botanists, 3 handlers, and 4 chemists, that brings the total cost of this build to $93,920. And I know, 6 figures is quite a lot of money to invest in a build, but with this thing pumping out 16 bricks of cocaine every day, after mixing, you're getting $150,000 worth of product every single day, so it's definitely worth it. And speaking of things that are totally worth it, you should check out some of the Schedule 1 merch I made. You see, I got permissions from the developer of the game himself to make some merch, and all of the profits go straight to rehabilitation charities, so you can wear some drug-related merch without having to worry about the moral implication. You can check it out over at staysilly.shop or click the link in the description below. Anyways, let's jump into the tutorial. To kick things off, we're going to get started by building out the area where all of our plants will be grown. So go ahead and grab 18 suspension racks, 18 full spectrum grow lights, 14 moisture preserving pots, and 4 AC units. It's easiest if you start by placing down the suspension racks. So start by putting 4 in a line just like this. Once that's done, skip 2 squares and put down 5 in a row like this. Then go right beside it and place down 5 more suspension racks touching it. And then skip 2 more squares and place down your last 4 suspension racks. Next, our plants need some light to help them grow, so pull out your full spectrum grow lights and put 1 underneath each of the suspension racks that we just placed down. And to finish things off, we need to put down our moisture preserving pots and the AC units. So this first row is going to have 3 pots placed down, and then the AC unit at the very end. The second row is going to have the AC unit first, followed up by 4 more pots. The third row is going to be the same thing. AC unit first, and then 4 more pots. And the final row is a repeat of the first. So 3 pots, and then finish it off with the AC unit. Now if you place the AC units correctly, you should be able to pull out your clipboard and press H to make sure that all of the pots are at 40 degrees Celsius. And if you're wondering why we're putting the AC units underneath suspension racks with grow lights, well, it's because when I'm bored, I like to run around the build and do this. Now that we have all of the plants put down, we can move on to the next section of the build, which is getting all of the drying racks set up along with their AC units. So go ahead and grab a huge storage closet, a large storage closet, 26 drying racks, and 10 AC units. We're going to start on the right hand wall by placing down 2 drying racks like this. Then place down an AC unit up against the wall and make sure it's set to heating. Then place down 2 more drying racks, then 2 more drying racks, then 2 more drying racks, and then place another AC unit behind this pillar and cap off this side with 2 more drying racks at the very end. Then head on over to the other side and do the exact same thing but in reverse. Place down 2 drying racks, an AC unit behind the pillar, then 2 drying racks, 2 more drying racks, 2 more drying racks, another AC unit up against this wall, and then finish it off by placing 2 more drying racks right here. Then turn around and head to this little nook right here. Place down the large storage closet and the huge storage closet. The huge storage closet is going to hold all of the leaves that have finished drying and are at heavenly quality, along with some gasoline so the handlers can restock the cauldrons. And the large storage closet behind it is going to hold extra gasoline so we don't have to worry about refilling the huge storage closet. This will last about 14 days before you have to restock the gasoline. Once you get those put down, head to the back of the warehouse and place down 1 AC unit here and another one right here. And then fill in the gaps with your remaining 6 drying racks. Now the last thing we need to do here is actually a little bit funky. Head upstairs and place 1 AC unit here, another AC unit here, a 3rd AC unit here, and place your final AC unit right here. Now the reason we have to do this is because heat actually seeps through the floor, heating all of the drying racks underneath. This makes sure that all of your drying racks stay at 40 degrees Celsius and maximizes the boost in drying efficiency. Now that the drying racks are all put down, we can move on to the next section and finish placing down the rest of our equipment. So go ahead and grab 8 cauldrons, 8 lab ovens, 2 huge storage closets, a large storage closet, the brick press, and 12 lockers. We're going to start with the lab ovens, so go ahead and place 1 down right here in this corner, and then turn and place 2 more right here, and then turn again and place 1 more right here. Then repeat that on the other side. Place 1 in the corner, 2 along the side, and 1 more on the other side. Next, we're going to put down our cauldrons, so place down 2 right behind those lab ovens, and then place down 2 more facing the 2 cauldrons you just put down. It is very important that all of the cauldrons are facing each other. Then head to the other side and repeat that again. 2 cauldrons against the lab oven, and 2 more cauldrons facing those cauldrons. Then head back into the middle and place down 2 huge storage closets just like this, 1 for the botanist supplies and 1 for the leaf buffer. Then place a large storage closet right in front of them to hold all of our finished product, and top it off with a brick press right in the middle. Then head upstairs and place down 6 lockers over on this side, and place down 6 more lockers over on this side. Now that all of our equipment is placed down, we need to move on to a tedious but very important part of the build: setting up our filters and renaming our closets. We're going to start with the botanist supplies, so head inside with your clipboard and rename this closet on the left to botanist supplies. Then open it up so we can set some filters. You're going to whitelist 2 slots for soil, 3 slots for coca seeds, 3 slots for fertilizer, 3 slots for PGR, 3 slots for speed grow, and 6 slots for coca leaves. And it's very important that you make sure you set the allowed quality of the coca leaves to only be standard. Once you finish that, head to the other side and rename this huge storage closet to Leaf Buffer. Then open it up so we can set the filters for this closet. Now the filters on this one are a lot easier than the other one. All you gotta do is whitelist coca leaves and make sure the allowed quality is only set to standard. Then apply to siblings and it'll automatically fill the rest of the slots with this same filter. Then go to the large storage closet up front and rename that one to Finished Product. And afterwards, we can move to the back and finish with the last two closets. So go ahead and rename the large storage closet to Gasoline Storage. And rename the huge storage closet to Leaf/Gasoline Supplies. Then open it up so we can set the filters. The easiest way to set this up is to make a whitelist for Coca Leaf and set the allowed quality to only Heavenly. Then apply that to siblings so it fills every slot. Then in the first slot, remove the Coca Leaf from the whitelist, add gasoline, and copy and paste that into the first 4 slots. This makes sure that the handler will have both the gasoline and Coca Leaves ready to restock all of the cauldrons. Now that we have all of the filters set up and all of our closets named properly, we can move on to setting up all of the destinations and routing for all of our equipment. We're going to start with the plants, so whip out your clipboard and select all 14 pots. Set the seed to Coca Seed, Additive 1 to Fertilizer, Additive 2 to PGR, Additive 3 to Speed Grow, and then set the destination to the Leaf Buffer closet on the left. A handler will eventually move these harvested leaves back into the botanist supply closet so our botanists can move these leaves over to the drying racks and turn them into heavenly quality leaves. Next, you're going to want to select all 26 drying racks. The ones on the right side, the ones in the back, and the ones on the left hand side as well. Set the target quality to heavenly, set the threshold to 20, and set the destination to the Leaf/Gasoline Supplies storage closet, so our handlers can restock all of the cauldrons for our chemists. Next, we're going to set up the destinations for our cauldrons. So go ahead and set the destination for this one to this lab oven, this one to this lab oven, and these 2 cauldrons' destinations are going to be the lab ovens directly behind them. Then go to the other side and do the exact same thing. Set the destination for this cauldron to this lab oven over here, and the destination for this cauldron to this lab oven over here. Then set the destinations for the last 2 cauldrons to the lab ovens directly behind them. Then select all 8 lab ovens and set their destination to the brick press in the middle of the warehouse. And then finally, set the destination of the brick press to the finished product closet right behind it. Now that all of our equipment is fully set up and ready to go, we can move on to the employees. But before we give our employees their routes and assign them their equipment, we first have to give them their lockers. And it takes a little bit, so here's some elevator music while you wait. Now this build uses botanists, chemists, and handlers, but the employee we're going to start with are the botanists. And if you remember at the start of this video, I explained that this build is a hybrid setup, and it uses both backfeeding and a manifold setup combined. This means that we're going to have 4 botanists that both grow and use the drying racks, but we're also going to have an additional botanist whose sole job is going to be using the drying racks. So grab one of your botanists and assign his supply shelf to the huge storage closet on the left that we already named Botanist Supplies. Then select these 4 pots in the middle, and then go off to the left hand side and select these 4 drying racks. This botanist will have 4 pots and 4 drying racks as their assignment. Head back outside and grab your second botanist. We're going to be doing the exact same thing except on the opposite side of the warehouse. So assign him to this supply shelf here, select the 4 pots in the middle, and then select the 4 drying racks over on the right hand side. Again, this botanist is going to be assigned 4 pots and 4 drying racks. Now go back outside and grab your third botanist. Assign him the botanist supply shelf, then give him these 3 pots on the outside, and assign him these 5 drying racks over on the edge. This botanist is going to be assigned 3 pots and 5 drying racks. Next, go back outside and grab our 4th botanist. This one is going to be the final botanist that will be backfeeding into our build. Assign him the supply shelf, assign him these 3 pots, and then assign him these 5 drying racks. So again, this botanist is going to be assigned 3 pots and 5 drying racks. Now head back outside and grab your final botanist. Assign him to the same botanist supply shelf as all of our backfeeding botanists, and then give him all 8 of the drying racks that are in the back of the warehouse. This botanist isn't going to be assigned any pots. His only job is going to be using the drying racks. Now that all the botanists are set up, we can move on to our chemists, our wonderful employees that turn all of our heavenly coca leaves into finished balls of cocaine, and thankfully they are very easy to set up. Go ahead and grab one of your chemists, head back inside to the left, and assign him to these 2 cauldrons and these 2 lab ovens. It's very important that you make sure you assign the cauldron and lab oven pairs. After you get him set up, head back outside and grab your second chemist. Assign these 2 cauldrons right here, and these 2 lab ovens over in the corner. Then head back outside and grab your third chemist. You're going to give him these 2 cauldrons right here, and then give him the 2 lab ovens directly behind him. Then head back outside and grab your final chemist. You're going to assign him these 2 cauldrons on the right hand side, and also the 2 lab ovens directly behind him. Now that the chemists and botanists are done, we can move on to the final type of employee that we're going to be using in this build, our wonderful handlers. They keep the entire operation running, and they're incredibly essential. They're going to be restocking the botanist supply shelf, moving the leaves and gasolines to the cauldron so we don't have to do that manually, and they're also going to be pressing our balls of cocaine into bricks of cocaine. So go ahead and grab your first handler. He's going to be in charge of all of the cauldrons on the left hand side of the build. So for the first 4 routes, you're going to set the from section to the leaf/gasoline supplies, and you're going to do this for all of the first 4 routes. Then for the to section, head back to the front of the warehouse and select each of the cauldrons. The order is not really that important here. For his 5th route, you're going to be going from loading dock 2 over to the botanist supplies. This makes sure that our botanists always have PGR, fertilizer, speed grow, and soil ready to go. Once he's done, you can go ahead and grab your second handler, and this one is going to be in charge of the right hand side of the build. Just like the last one, the first 4 routes are going to be going from the leaf/gasoline supplies, but this time they're going to be going to the cauldrons on the right hand side of the build. And for the 5th and final route, you're going to be going from loading dock 1 over to the botanist supplies, and this will make sure that the botanists always have coca seeds ready to plant. Then go back outside and grab your 3rd and final handler. This one's routes are a little bit different. Firstly, you're going to be going from the leaf buffer to the botanist supplies. This will move all of our harvested leaves back into the botanist supply shelf so our botanists can put the leaves onto the drying racks. For the second route, you're going to be going from the gasoline storage to the leaf/gasoline supplies. This ensures that we only need to refill the gasoline once every 2 weeks or so. For the last 2 routes, you're going to have to head back outside. The 3rd and 4th routes are going to be going from the loading bays over to the botanist supply shelf. Now, restocking the botanist supplies is not this handler's main function. This handler's main job is going to be turning the balls of cocaine from the lab ovens into fully finished bricks of cocaine. So go ahead and assign him to that brick press. Now, this next section is very important. We need to put the finishing touches on the build, and the build won't work without these finishing touches, so make sure you do them. first thing we gotta do is obviously order our supplies. You need to order 13 extra long life soil, 39 fertilizer, 39 PGR, and 39 speed grow from Dan's Hardware. And make sure you set the loading dock to number 2. You want Dan's Hardware delivery to be closer to the warehouse itself, since there's a lot more items to move. You also need to buy 160 coca seeds from Salvador Moreno. And if you don't have deliveries for him unlocked yet, don't worry, just keep doing those dead drops and eventually you will get a text allowing you to order deliveries for coca seeds. And make sure you set the loading dock to number 1. We also need to put 1 bag of extra long life soil into the botanist supply shelf. We have 14 pots, but we're only ordering 13 soil, so this step is necessary even if it sounds a little bit goofy. The next thing we need to do is stock up on gasoline, so go ahead and fill every slot in the gasoline storage with gasoline from a gas mart, and then fill the first 4 slots of the leaves/gasoline supplies with gasoline. The next thing we gotta set up is our cauldrons, and this one is very important. You're going to want to put 20 gasoline in each of the cauldrons, but you are also going to want to blacklist coca leaves from the last 2 slots in the cauldron itself. This makes sure that we will never ever have any leaves put into those last 2 slots. This ensures that when the handlers stock up the cauldrons, they actually distribute the leaves evenly across all of them instead of just focusing on a few of the ones at the top of their routes. And lastly, but most importantly, we have to prime our build. Essentially, before we get everything running, we want a big backlog of leaves that are ready to go before we ever start cooking. We need this closet right here to be completely full and to have at least 6 slots full in our botanist supplies as well. We also need the leaf buffer closet to have some leaves in it too. Now to do this, the easiest way is to pay all of your employees except for the chemists. So the plants will get grown, they'll get dried to heavenly quality, and they'll get moved to the cauldrons, but they will never get cooked. The build takes about 7 days to get fully primed and ready to go, and after that week of waiting, all you have to do is pay the chemists, and this build will work like a dream. You don't technically have to prime the build, but I promise you it works so much better if you do, so I really cannot stress enough how much I recommend this. Once the build is fully primed and ready to go, all you gotta do is pay the chemists, and you are off to the races. The handlers will move the supplies to the botanist supply closet, the botanist will start growing the coca plants, they'll harvest them and move those leaves to the leaf buffer, where the handler will move them from the leaf buffer back to the botanist supply closet. The botanist will take them from the supply closet and put them on the drying racks. Then, once they reach heavenly, they'll move it to the leaf and gasoline supplies. A handler will take them from there and move them over to the cauldrons, along with any gasoline that's needed, where a chemist will cook it up, dry it in the lab oven, and put it in the brick press for our handlers to make the finished product. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate all of your love and support. And as always, stay silly, y'all.